This is a mock interview conducted by ForumIAS Academy at New Delhi. The interview panel includes eminent academicians, retired bureaucrats, and other luminaries. The objective of the program is to acquaint the candidate with the format and expectations of the personality test conducted by UPSC.
Good afternoon, Sanskriti. Please sit down.
Thank you so much.
So, Sanskriti, you are a student of international relations.
Yes, sir.
And your option is also international relations.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you also are a gender champion.
Yes, sir.
What are some of the qualities of a mature gender champion?
Sir, first quality which feel is very important is being empathetic towards the issues of gender, because sometimes we may not experience a lot of things that many people are facing regarding who belong to gender minorities or who are women, but we need to be empathetic towards them. Second, we also need to be patient towards listening to their issues, that whatever they have to say, because issues of gender are sometimes very sensitive and people might not open up very quickly at one moment. So we need to give them their space and time and then listen to people who want to come and discuss the issues of gender with us. And sir, third I think is they should not be judgmental, have an open mind and not come to conclusions at once, but give proper thought, proper attention to each detail with which the person approaches us.
Are you aware of UGC having issued guidelines to various universities and institutions on gender champions?
Yes, sir. UGC had guided all universities to have gender champions when Ministry of Women and Child Development asked it to. So after that, each and every college mostly has some people of designated people who talk about gender issues, and also we have a number of seminars. Also one-to-one discussion with teachers, because we may not be, we as students, we may not be very informed about the issues of gender. So teachers discuss things with us.
As a person, what has been the most difficult decision for you to take in life? Or you've not faced any such situation in life?
Sir, when I was taking the decision, I wasn't sure that this would be a decision that I might think twice, which was taking up humanities after class 12th, because I had PCM science till class 12th. So I thought that I would, because I was very clear that I wanted to pursue civil services, so I thought it would be better to take up humanities. But given that this is my fourth attempt and I sometimes get this feeling of regret that maybe I should have taken up a technical degree, it would have been safe. So that is a dilemma that is there in my mind. So at the time that I was taking that decision, I didn't find it difficult, but now sometimes I think about it. So
FM talked about Amrit Pidi in the budget. Have you heard about it? In the recent budget, FM spoke of 7 pillars.
Yes, sir.
One of the pillars was Amrit Pidi.
Sir, I have to read on that. I'm sorry, sir. I don't know.
All right. So can you tell me the major heads on which a rupee is spent on? I have a 1 rupee basket. What are the major expenditure heads which the rupee goes to meet?
So the major heads would be the capital and the revenue expenditure. The capital expenditure would be that money that is spent on building infrastructure, long-lasting capital assets. And revenue expenditure would be all those routine payments like salaries, pensions. That is the way the rupee is spent, sir.
Okay.
Hello, Sanskriti. Now you are from Ranchi.
Yes.
Can you tell me a few things which Ranchi is famous for?
So the most famous, the person, MS Dhoni is the most famous.
Why? Now my question exactly is that only. Why is Ranchi limited to MS Dhoni for its identity? Why does the place not have enough for its own recognition besides MS Dhoni?
Sir, if we look at from the point of view of industries, Ranchi has certain industries and certain certain PSUs, but like the CMPDI and CCL have their headquarters there, which are basically coal-related PSUs. But strong industries are not yet present. Tourism is a good potential for areas around Ranchi, but due to the lack of infrastructure, the lack of access to forested regions, and also the fear of Naxalism, that hasn't developed. Sir, I can think of these two, that these can be the reasons.
And what would you do if you have any decision-making powers? What would you do to make Ranchi has its own identity and not being entrapped in a single person?
Sir, moving on from the example of MS Dhoni, because Jharkhand has a lot of potential in sports, because we have other sports personalities emerging from Jharkhand. We have in the history, we have Jaipal Singh Munda, who was a famous hockey player, and we also have Deepika Kumari. So we can invest in sports infrastructure, sports training institutions. Tata has some, we can further...
taken political science as your option.
Yes, sir.
And you've done your graduation from, post-graduation from JNU.
Yes,
Now, can you tell me the theories that J.S. Mill gave on freedom of speech and expression?
Yes, sir. So for J.S. Mill, freedom of speech and expression is a very important part of the idea of liberty that he gives. And he also says that all kind of truths need to come out in the place, so that there can be no absolute truth. And even if a person who is wrong would get to know that they were wrong, if all kind of opinions are allowed to come out. So he's a very staunch supporter of expression and right to speech.
And how far would you agree with the theory, personally?
So majorly I agree with the theory, because that is a basic liberty that a person should have to at least express what they feel about issues. But also there should be certain red lines that need to be there, so that they do not cross certain lines that hurt.
So where do you draw those red lines, as you say? Where do you draw those? As recently we've seen that 144 was imposed in JNU campus, right? For the BBC documentary. Do you think it was fair?
So personally, I don't think it was a fair decision to stop the screening of the documentary by using a legal recourse as the section 144, because the documentary is a form of expression, and I think the people should be allowed to decide on certain sensitive issues as the documentary also discussed. Stopping the screening or blocking the access of the documentary doesn't really show a very mature democracy.
All right. You have a hobby of knowing about Indian cuisines. You cook Indian cuisines, or you just try to know about it?
Sir, mostly I watch videos on YouTube. I do not cook much, sir.
What, travel vlogs or documentaries?
Mostly, sir, travel vlogs. And also I read on various stories that are linked to certain cuisines or certain kind of particular dish.
Okay. And all right, so just a quick question about that. Can you tell me where did this butter chicken originate?
So butter chicken is majorly a cuisine that is famous from Punjab.
Okay, where did it originate? What is the history of butter chicken?
Sorry, sir, I do not know that.
What is the history of samosas?
So samosas are mostly Persian and Central Asian dishes, which were mostly had with a non-vegetarian or a meat-based filling, and it was useful in those dry regions where not a lot of agricultural produce was made, and also the filling was often dried meat or preserved meat, which could be given longevity to the produce. But when in India, it was adopted with a lot of vegetarian substitute, like the potato filling that we have.
All right, thank you, Sanskriti.
Yes.
So hello, Sanskriti.
Hello.
So born on December 16. Any significance of that date?
Yes, sir. There is the Vijay Diwas that we celebrate on 16th December, which marks India's victory over Pakistan on the 1971 war.
1971 war. Was that a two-front war?
I'm sorry, sir. I do not know this.
Okay, so where were the theaters of war action? Did Indian army fought against the Pakistanis only in Bangladesh, or were there battles elsewhere as well?
So majorly, the impact was on the Bangladeshi border with even the refugees, a lot of refugees
On
crossing.
the western border, India didn't fight any war with Pakistan?
Yes, there is the war of 65 and the 1999
No, in
Kargil
71
war.
I'm talking about. 71, was there any battle in the 71 war on the western front?
I'm sorry, sir, I do not know this for sure.
So what is your opinion regarding religious tourism? For example, government is developing lot of corridors in cities of religious importance. In Varanasi, for example, in Ujjain also, I think there have been one. So what is your personal opinion? Should the sanctity of such places should be maintained, or should we promote religious tourism?
Sir, I think religious tourism is a great opportunity to in various ways. Economically, it can give benefits in terms of revenue, and also it can further promote the religion, its facets. But given that religion is a very sensitive and personal issue, there can be certain stakeholder consideration that if there is a community that is being sensitive, like we have seen in the Parasnath case, the government can act with empathy and stop its policies. But overall, we have seen that religious tourism has been taken positively all around.
You are from Gargi College. Who was Gargi?
So Gargi was a Vedic scholar.
So there is place for women in
Yes,
religion, right?
Yes, sir. So yes.
So how do you resolve this conflict?
So I do agree that there are examples like Gargi, but they are more like exceptions to the what was common.
Okay.
What was common was that women were not even allowed to attend after any kind of political meeting like the sabhas after a point of time. They were married early. They were not given any kind of educational rights. It was said that if they read out religious scriptures, they will die in hell. So we have examples.
But there is a Shakti tradition as well. Within Hinduism, there is a Shakti tradition where the feminine power is worshipped. So even that is also a facet. So do you think that it is the religion itself, or is it the how we practice it?
So I think both, there's a combination of both, because religion is not static. It is always being added towards how it has moved all through years. So certain local practices and certain local prejudices have added to the religious scriptures and have further deteriorated the position of women.
Okay. And what is your opinion regarding doctrine of essentiality, essential practices? What is your opinion? Should it be the judiciary that should decide what is essential practice of a religion?
Sir, I do not think that judiciary is the institution that should be deciding the doctrine of essential practices, because that would need a lot of scholarship, a lot of intellectual awareness about the various facets of various religion. And also, sir, religion is a very personal thing, I believe.
But
so
if
what
a
is
practice is
essential?
discriminatory, if a practice is discriminatory to women, who will end it? The religion itself may not reform by itself.
Sir, in those cases, we can look up to our constitution, which provides us the certain...
That brings it to the domain of Supreme Court or the judiciary. Anyway, it's a debate that will go on. Thank you. That's all from my side. I'll pass on.
Thank you.
So Sanskriti, international relations, I think, is an area of your special study.
Yes, sir.
Right. Would you tell us something about this French protest on pension reforms and retirement age for past 1 week?
Yes, sir.
Please tell us.
I'm sorry, sir. I have to read on that, sir. I'm missing on the details.
Okay. Would you tell us something about this short selling business of this Hindenburg and Adani?
Yes, sir. Sir, Hindenburg is a short seller organization which...
What does short selling mean?
Sir, short selling is different from the regular market discourse where people earn when the share prices they rise. But for short sellers, they benefit when there is quick fall in the share prices.
A diplomatic issue.
Yes.
Say, for example, budget has allotted 200 crore rupees for Afghanistan. Okay. Now, the criticism of this step is that a democratic country like India is funding and financing Taliban's anti-human rights, anti-women. So, how we can defend that? Why should a democracy fund Taliban's kind of government?
Sir, the Indian approach to Afghanistan has always been people-centric. And whatever we spend in Afghanistan has mostly been developmental based, like making the libraries, schools. But I don't think it would be said that we are funding the Taliban, because given that we have a developmental approach to Afghanistan, but also we are driven by the real politics in the region. We know that Afghanistan as an area, as a geographical entity is important to us. It's close to our borders. It's also, there has been history that if Afghanistan is not stable, if it is not secure, it can cause instability in India also. So our approach to Afghanistan has always been driven to engage with whatever government is present there, even though we do not recognize Taliban. So that is why we would be spending on the developmental aspects of Afghanistan.
What are the reasons of economic failure of Pakistan?
So there are several factors.
Name any 3 factors.
So the historical factor, in the sense that the government hasn't maintained and hasn't been fiscally prudent through their independent times, and that has led to their economic problems recurrently. They have gone to IMF some 20 times since their independence.
Are you sure? 20 or 21st or 23rd, 23rd? Can you be precise? It's not 20.
Sir, I'll
Okay.
go.
Please
I'm
carry
sorry,
on.
sir. So secondly, the debt financing or the debt unsustainability of Pakistan is very high. It has taken debts from IMF and also from UAE, from other Middle Eastern powers, and also China is a big debtor to Pakistan. And all of that, especially Chinese loans, are very unsustainable. They are at very high rate. And third, so the immediate reason would be the floods that were there in Pakistan, which led to agricultural losses. Agriculture being a strong pillar in Pakistan, it led to this issue.
Agriculture is pillar?
One of the strong pillars.
My
Agriculture.
dear friend, they import wheat and everything they are importing. So how can you call that a pillar of agriculture's pillar of Pakistan economy? How can you say?
Okay, sir.
All right.
I'm
So
sorry.